Hello dear fans, friends and subscribers. Welcome to the Cricket Happening Show this on a Sunday. Well, as far as Sunday is concerned, on this Cricket Happening Show, there are two matches that were played yesterday. So I'm going to talk about those matches. One was a match which was the first match was in the Hagley Oval where it was in Dunedin where Afghanistan were taking on Sri Lanka. And let me tell you, Afghanistan really gave Sri Lanka a real fright yesterday, because what they did is they rocked Sri Lanka pretty hard and they reduced Sri Lanka to 51 for 4 at one stage. And the cool and calm Mahela Jayawardene was the one who really saved Sri Lanka with a century. And finally, the match was not so easy as Sri Lanka would have expected, as there was still a chance for Afghanistan to sneak a win there, but luckily Thisara Perera provided some fireworks and saw to it that Sri Lanka won't be humiliated by Afghanistan, as Sri Lanka won the match. But Afghanistan, really one has to really commend their efforts. Their pace bowlers were absolutely superb. Well, so that is one match I will be talking about, probably it could have become like a sort of a major upset as far as World Cup 2015 was concerned, but that was saved by Mahela Jayawardene's century. Now, the other match, India and South Africa, one thought that South Africa had a strong opposition team, and we also know that South Africa are strong contenders for this World Cup 2015 along with Australia and New Zealand. But well, let me tell you, India, if you had actually, you dear friends and subscribers have been following my Cricket Happening Show on a regular basis, you would have seen my preview. I definitely mentioned that India's pace bowling attack is pretty weak with no experience, not much experience there, but I think the Indian bowlers are really turning it on. And now I'll have to really eat my words, because India has already scalped Pakistan. Now they have also scalped South Africa. Now that's a big fish, and that's a big victory for India. And look at the margin of victory. In fact, India went on to make 307 runs after batting first against South Africa, which was led by Shikhar Dhawan's I would say his highest score in one-day internationals of 137 runs. Ajinkya Rahane played an attractive knock of 79 of 60 deliveries, and India ran up a huge total of 307. The pressure started building on the South Africans, even though they had their very good batsmen, in the sense that they had a top-heavy batting lineup. Well, let me tell you, it was not easy for South Africa. South Africa definitely crumbled under the pressure of a huge total. And let me tell you, the Indian bowlers, the Indian pace bowlers to me have really surprised me. And now, as you will remember in the preview, as I said, I am eating my words. But now I am going to predict, I'm going to say that India are also contenders for the World Cup 2015. And I wouldn't be surprised if India would be defending the World Cup. India, we all know India are defending. They are the 2011 World Cup champions. So they are defending the World Cup. And I wouldn't be surprised if India reaches the probably a bit early to say, but quarterfinals is something now. It's almost, one can say that India would be there. And now I definitely have a lot of hope for the Indian bowlers, because the Indian bowlers are doing the trick, and especially when they can do it to South Africa. That really says this Indian team, with even the pace bowlers who are not as experienced, not having a lot of experience, I wouldn't say experience, but a lot of experience. Even Ishan Sharma was out, and despite that, India has given a victory. And also, there was one significant thing which happened yesterday between India and South Africa, and that is in India-South Africa matches in the World Cup, how India were holding the wood over Pakistan. There was a jinx that India had to break, and India definitely broke the jinx, because South Africa have never defeated India in a World Cup. India have never defeated South Africa in a World Cup, but that happened yesterday. And is that a foreboding of all successful things for India to come? And let me tell you, India, after being in 2.5 months in Australia, not really performing well, losing the tri-series. One probably thought that India are out of form, but I thought now the Indians are really peaking at the right moment, and that is at the big event, the World Cup 2015. So let's look at the summary. So I'm going to do a summary of both the matches, but first I'm going to head off towards the Afghanistan versus Sri Lanka match. As I said, Afghanistan started off with, in fact, giving you a summary here. It was the toss was actually won by Sri Lanka, Dunedin, and they put the Afghanistanis into bat. And Afghanistan, Javed Ahmadi and Nowroz Mangal were the openers. Today, Javed Ahmadi was brought into the lineup. They still, it's a real puzzle for me that as to why the 18-year-old, the baby of the Afghanistan team, Usman Ghani, was not playing, because I feel he's a precocious talent, and I was a bit surprised that Afghanistan are still not, still not giving the chances to Usman Ghani, who is a pretty talented bloke. Well, Afghanistan, Javed Ahmadi and Nowroz Mangal opened the innings for Afghanistan, but well, let me tell you, it was not easy for them. They lost Nowroz Mangal to the bowling of Matthews for 10. The person, in fact, Javed Ahmadi making 24 of 23 balls. But looking at this Afghanistani innings, well, there was a stage when, after being 40 for 2, the partnership added 88 runs, and that was a very good partnership. And that was the one which really held the Afghanistan innings together. And it was done by Asghar Stanikzai, who is the mainstay, according to me, as far as the Afghanistan batting lineup is concerned, and Samiullah Shenwari, who was in the news the other day as he couldn't bowl against Bangladesh, as you would remember. Now, Samiullah Shenwari, Asghar Stanikzai combined into a beautiful partnership of 88 runs, 88 valuable runs, to put on a very good partnership. In fact, they were also upping the scoring rate, which was good to see. And in fact, Asghar Stanikzai, normally one does not see Asghar Stanikzai really score strokes at will, but yesterday he was really stroking the ball well, and that reflected. And Asghar Stanikzai and Samiullah Shenwari had added 88 runs for the third wicket, and finally that stand was broken when Thisara Pereira nipped the wicket of Samiullah Shenwari for 38 of 70 deliveries with 5 fours. Because Asghar Stanikzai was there, but Asghar Stanikzai was also gone after that. He was the victim of Herat for 54. He tried to loft a delivery from Herat. Mendes taking the catch of 57 balls, 5 fours and 1 6. But after that, Mohammad Nabi showed some real aggression, making 21 of 27 balls with 2 fours and 1 6. And Najmullah Zadran contributed 10 of 15 balls with 1 6. Afsar Zazai was there until the end, along with Mirwaiz Ashraf. Mirwaiz Ashraf was impressive. He was the one who really took the Afghanistan score to 232. They were all out for 232. Mirwaiz Ashraf playing some big strokes in his knock of 28 of 32 deliveries with 1 4 and 2 6s. Afsar Zazai, the young wicketkeeper batsman, making 19 of 38 balls with 1 4. He was not able to really force the pace, as 232 was the final tally. In fact, let me tell you, Afghanistan definitely lost the plot at a situation where they were actually at the driver's seat at 128 for 2, where Asghar Stanikzai and Samiullah Shenwari were at the crease. But after that, I thought the Sri Lankan bowlers did a wonderful job. They put the brakes in pretty quickly, and it was very difficult for Afghanistan to get off it, because they really struggled, I would say, against the Sri Lankan pace bowlers. Now, looking at it, looking at the cards, so 232 all out was still a decent total, considering that they were playing Sri Lanka. The bowling for the Sri Lankans were Lasith Malinga, 9.4 overs, unmade 41 runs and 3 wickets. He also showed that he's definitely slowly getting into gear here, because Afghanistan bowling batsmen were definitely not able to really get either Malinga or Lakmal off the square. Look at Lakmal's figures: 10 overs, 1 made and 2 for 36. But Malinga finally took the wickets yesterday. He took 3 wickets for 41 runs. Matthews 7 overs, 41 runs and 3 wickets. Pereira bowled 10 overs, 54 runs and 1 wicket. Rangana had at 10 overs, no made and 1 for 41. And Jeevan Mendes 3 overs, no made and none for 13. As far as Sri Lanka were concerned, they were given a target of 233 to chase. And look at what let me just tell you what happened really. It all started, it was something which was something a special moment for for Afghanistan, as Lairo Tiramane was sent back to the pavilion of the very first delivery which was bowled. Davlat Zadran. Today, in fact, Afghanistan did one good thing of having 3 pace bowlers in the mix, and that really helped us. Davlat Zadran, who is a very good bowler. He also, even though when you see him, you don't feel like he could have pace, but let me tell you, he was really bowling at 140 clicks. And what he did is that with the very first delivery of the Sri Lankan innings, Lairo Tiramane was a goner. As he was gone, LBW bowled Davlat Zadran for duck, and the Afghanistanis were absolutely cock-a-hoop there when they got their wicket of the very first delivery. And then after that, it was Kumar Sangakkara came to the crease to join Dilshan, and Tiramane was out for a first ball duck of the Sri Lankan innings. And after that, Tilkaratne Dilshan, what a wicket. I mean, in the second over, it was the turn of Shapur Zadran. Now, Shapur Zadran, left-arm pace bowler, I always have a feeling that he's one of those wonderful bowlers from Afghanistan. And what he did is that he induced Tilkaratne Dilshan to go for a shot outside the off stump, and that ended in the hands of Zazai, the wicket-keeper. And Sri Lanka were all over, the Afghanistan team was all over Sri Lanka, as both the openers were sent back to the pavilion with first ball ducks. As Dilshan gone for duck. The score read 2 for 2. Kumar Sangakkara along with Karunaratne slowly tried to settle matters by pushing the score from 2 for 2 to 18. But Kumar Sangakkara, Hamid Hassan came into the bowling attack, and Hamid Hassan is also, as you know, is a wonderful bowler. He immediately struck, and what a delivery. I mean, this is a delivery, according to me, this was the delivery of the day. The ball was actually angling in and went on to knock the off stump of Kumar Sangakkara. Kumar Sangakkara was absolutely surprised, but what a delivery. Hamid Hassan was doing a real jig there, why not? And Afghanistan were absolutely happy, and they had absolutely rocked Sri Lanka when they took Kumar Sangakkara's wicket, bowled by Hamid Hassan for 7 of 13 deliveries with 1 4, and that would have really sent some shivers down the spines of the Sri Lankan players there in the dressing room. It was 18 for 3. Karunaratne played some very good strokes to just take the attack back to the Sri Lankans, but back to the Afghanistan bowlers. But once again, Hamid Hassan came in, and he also dismissed Karunaratne now, as Karunaratne was caught by trying to, in fact, it was a very good captaincy on the part of Mohammad Nabi. He put a person there in the slip region. Karunaratne had earlier played a boundary of the previous delivery, and here Karunaratne was sent back to the pavilion by Hamid Hassan. As he got Karunaratne to nick a delivery, he was gone for 23, and Sri Lanka was staring down the barrel at 51 for 4. That was in the 12th over, and alarm bells were really ringing at the time. But definitely they had their war horse Jayawardene at the crease, and Jayawardene, what he did, he really he didn't really take things lying down. Even though Sri Lanka had 51 for 4, he continued to play his strokes, and he got an able partner in Angelo Matthews, the captain, and this was the partnership which really rescued Sri Lanka and saw to it that Sri Lanka wouldn't lose on this. In fact, they did a wonderful job. They played some good strokes, and from 51 the score was it's a 126 run partnership with Jayawardene and Matthews. Matthews was more sedate, but Jayawardene was the one who was doing all the scoring, even though Jayawardene was the one who was hitting all the boundaries. And finally, when the score had reached 177, and as I said, Sri Lanka did a very good job there to push the score on to 177, and that was the time. It was a relief for Sri Lanka. But suddenly, once again, Afghanistan came over Sri Lanka, because what happened was both the well-settled batsmen were sent back to the pavilion. Hamid Hassan took the wicket of Jayawardene, but not before Jayawardene went on to make his, I think, his third World Cup 100 of 120 balls with 8 fours and 1 6, and Angelo Matthews was sent back. He was run out from Mohammad Nabi for 44 of 81 balls with 2 fours, and finally it was Thisara Pereira who, along with Jeevan Mendes, took the Sri Lankans to victory, with Thisara Pereira making an unbeaten 47 of 26 balls with 6 fours and 1 6, and finally Sri Lanka could breathe, as Sri Lanka won the match by 4 wickets. So Dawlat Zadran, look at the Afghanistan bowling was absolutely superb, as I said. Dawlat Zadran, 9 overs, 1 for 44. Shapur Zadran bowled superbly, 10 overs, 148. Hamid Hassan did his job perfectly, 9 overs, no maiden, 345. 8.1 overs, no maiden, none for 31. Picture of economy there, Mirwais Ashraf. Mohammad Nabi, 5.2 overs, no maiden, none for 28. Asghar Stanikzai bowled 5 balls for 6 runs. Samila Shenwari, 6 overs, no maiden, none for 32. And Mahela Jayawardene, well, it was an obvious choice for the man of the match because he was the one who really saved Sri Lanka there. And what a knock making 100 there and rescuing his team from deep trouble, probably even an upset, one could say. Well, let me not waste any more time here. Let's get on to the match between India and South Africa. Well, India and South Africa. Well, India decided to India were the ones who actually won the toss. So it was a good toss to win on a day where it was played at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Melbourne Cricket Ground was absolutely chock-a-block. There was absolutely no spaces. There was a huge Indian contingent waiting for for things to happen there at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. And I thought they really had a lot of fun, a lot of entertainment as India started there. India were the ones who actually won the toss. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni had no hesitation in deciding to bat first. Rohit Sharma and Shikhar Dhawan strided in to open the innings with Dale Steyn and Philander starting. Well, Dale Steyn, let me tell you, it was not easy for India. The Rohit Sharma and Dhawan had to be pretty watchful. And then finally we saw that Shikhar Dhawan started playing some strokes. He played some good strokes through the offside for boundaries. He was the one who was scoring all the boundaries there. And then a magnificent piece of fielding by the South African captain to really set the tone there as he hit the bullseye. When Rohit Sharma, who actually, there was a bit of hesitation. In fact, Shikhar Dhawan, who actually called Rohit Sharma and in fact decided not to go for the run, and by the time Rohit Sharma could turn back and go, it was all over as A.B. de Villiers had shattered the stumps from a close range and he was gone for duck, and that was not a start that India would have wanted against South Africa. So the score read 9 for 1. Shikhar Dhawan was joined in by Virat Kohli, and from then on, even though South Africa had drawn first blood, they really had to wait a long time as the partnership between Virat Kohli and Shikhar Dhawan started, with Virat Kohli not really trying, just playing percentage cricket, and Shikhar Dhawan, what he was doing is he was also basically he was trying to rotate the strike, but one thing that Dhawan was doing well was that as and when an opportunity was there, anything short was being really hammered by Shikhar Dhawan. As Shikhar Dhawan slowly, his confidence was growing, especially after the game against Pakistan, and suddenly this partnership started very well, in the sense they played in a very meticulous manner, one could say, and saw to it that the Indian score would really advance, and that's what they did as the score, as they started putting on a very good partnership of 128 runs for the second wicket. As I said, Virat Kohli was the more sedate partner, but Virat Kohli, today Imran Tahir bowled very well against India, I thought, and Imran Tahir, even though he was included, he picked up the important wicket of Virat Kohli and broke that second wicket stand, and Virat Kohli was gone for 46 of 60 deliveries with 3 fours. India scored 136 for 2 in the 28th over. Ajinkya Rahane came in to join Shikhar Dhawan. Shikhar Dhawan, who was absolutely well entrenched at the crease at that particular juncture. Also, Shikhar Dhawan hit some beautiful sixes, and Ajinkya Rahane totally, I would say, he changed the tempo of the Indian innings, because what Rahane did, he really did some real counter punching. As for him, every bowler came alike, and well, South Africa definitely had problems with Vernon Philander due to a hamstring injury, not able to bowl, and that was a big blow for them, no doubt about it. But not to full marks for Ajinkya Rahane, who really showed a lot of aggression. He had the guts to even loft Dale Steyn for a 6, which was a real sighter, one could say. And Ajinkya Rahane, along with Shikhar Dhawan, once again there was another huge partnership that started developing, and this was something which was done in pretty quick time. In 16 overs, it was Shikhar Dhawan and Ajinkya Rahane putting 125 runs for the third wicket, and that was the one which really had India really at a good score at 261. But finally Dhawan finally got to his century, and what a moment for Shikhar Dhawan. His first World Cup century, his highest score in one-day internationals. He notched 137 of 146 deliveries with 16 fours and 2 sixes. Let me tell you, it was a very, very attacking innings from Shikhar Dhawan. 137 of 146 balls with 16 fours and 2 sixes. Ajinkya Rahane contributed 79 of 60 deliveries with 7 fours. In fact, he had hit a 6 of the previous ball of Dale Steyn. As I said, he lofted Steyn over the fence, and the very next delivery, Steyn trapped him LBW, but not before he had done enough damage to the South African bowlers of making 79 of 60 deliveries, 7 fours and 3 sixes. After that, Suresh Raina was out for 6. Dhoni contributed a quick 18 of 11 balls with 3 fours. And finally, India finished up with a total of 307 for 5 of their 50 overs. The bowling, Dale Steyn, he did his job pretty well, but he really got some tap from the Indian batsmen, especially Rahane. 10 overs, 1 made and 1 for 55. Philander, 4 overs, 1 made and none for 19. Didn't bowl due to a hamstring injury. JP Duminy, 7 overs, none for 39. Mone Morkel went for 59 runs with 2 wickets, but Imran Tahir, I thought, bowled really well against the Indians. 10 overs, no made and 148. And Wayne Parnell was the problem for South Africa because of Vernon Philander being not there, and Wayne Parnell proved absolutely expensive. His 9 overs was carted for 85 runs by the Indian batsman with only 1 wicket to show to his name. As far as South Africa were concerned, well, South Africa definitely struggled against with a huge total being posted, with a real big crowd there at the MCG. It was absolutely, as I said, it was a very, very high voltage match, one could say. Indian supporters were there in plenty to support the Indian players there, and South Africa found the going pretty tough there. Hashim Amla and Quinton de Kock started. Mohammad Shami was the one who provided the breakthrough first by knocking off Quinton de Kock. He was caught by Kohli for 7 of 15 balls, 1-4. It was not easy for any of, and the Indian bowlers were absolutely on the money. They were not allowing any scoring areas for the South African batsmen. It was pretty difficult for them, and the pressure started building. Hashim Amla was kept quiet. He made only 22 of 28 balls with 2 fours as Mohit Sharma picked this wicket. Another good feature of this Indian pace bowling was to see that Umesh Yadav, Mohammad Shami, Mohit Sharma, everybody really on the luxury of having a big score, India having under their belt. I thought these 3 bowlers really did a wonderful job of really swinging the ball and making South Africa work. And South Africans, as I said, barring du Plessis, who made 55 71 balls with 5 fours, and de Villiers, who contributed 30 of 38 balls with 3 fours. But what a magnificent piece of fielding by Mohit Sharma to actually run out AB de Villiers, who was out for 30. And du Plessis, as I said, he was the highest scorer with 55 of 71 balls with 5 fours. And after that, the South African innings never gained any momentum, barring David Miller, who made 22 of 23 balls with 2 fours. It was an absolute procession. Duminy was out for 6. Wayne Parnell remained not out on 17 of 28 balls with 1-4. Philander was dismissed for a duck. 1 for Dale Steyn, 2 for Morkel, 8 for Imran Tahir. Match over. South Africa all out for 177, losing the match against India by a very huge margin of 130 runs. As I said, this was India's first victory over South Africa in a World Cup match, because South Africa have always defeated India in World Cup matches, and this is also a proud moment for the Indians. Not only did they defeat South Africa for the first time in World Cups, but they also picked up, defeated South Africa by a huge margin, and that was the real thing that would have really pleased lots of Indian supporters. Look at the bowling of the Indians, absolutely disciplined. Yadav, 6 overs, none for 34. Mohammad Shami on the money, 8 overs, 1 made and 30 runs and 2 wickets. Mohit Sharma improving every match, 7 overs, no made and 2 for 31. Jadeja was a different bowler yesterday. He was absolutely different. He was really making life difficult for the South Africans to get runs. 8.2 overs, no made and 1 for 37. Ashwin, 10 overs, no made and 341. Raina bowled 1 over, none for 3. And the match over with India winning the match. Shikhar Dhawan was named man of the match. that really sums up my cricket happening show for today. Well, the match which is coming up today is another very good match between England and Scotland. It'll be interesting to see whether England can get off the mark in the World Cup, having lost 2 matches. But Scotland, let me tell you, that they did very well in the warm-up matches, as you would remember, and England can't take anything lightly here. So we have only 1 match coming up today in the World Cup, and I'll be back with a report on that particular match tomorrow, as you all know. Until then, it's goodbye. Thank you.